Hey, this is Dave with Rough Notes Magazine. We're all about helping agents and brokers thrive, and we're impressed with what you're doing. Can we feature you and your team on our front cover?
Cyrus, tell me the feeling you had when you first learned that your agency was going to be on the front cover of Rough Notes magazine.
Man, it was honestly a great feeling. I've heard a lot about Rough Notes magazine, honestly, in the last 6 months, and guys like Chris Paradiso and all these guys, and obviously you that I've talked to told me a lot of great things about Rough Notes magazine. So I was ecstatic, man. It was an honor, and I'm humbled to be on it.
I think it was one of those things that you didn't realize how awesome it was when you heard it until after you went and did your research. And I think, to be fair, let's get into your background so everybody knows. You haven't been an insurance agent every day like I have for the last 25 years. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so I left. I was a captive agent until 2019, 6 months before COVID. So we left right about COVID time, trying to figure it out during COVID. So only four or 5 years, I guess, on the independent channel. And it's been so much fun. But it's only been 4 or 5 years.
Wow. And the thing about it is like, this is how true this is, right? Sometimes people may think out there that maybe Dave and the team find people that they know or they like or whatever. No, they really go off what other people are saying. When other people point them in directions and say, hey, this is someone you should be looking for. And you're the proof in the pudding in the fact that you know of Rough Notes, but you don't know a ton about them. And for them to reach out and just say, Cyrus, and this is what I told Dave. I said, Dave, I don't know where the hell you're getting your information, but you're picking the best out there. I know this guy. Cyrus, tell us, what do you think is the reason why Rough Notes really went after you? And they probably haven't told you, but what would you think has been something that has catapulted you to where you are?
Yeah, I think for us, man, we're very heavy personal lines, as you know, we're a 90-10 personal lines, and we just do a ton of it, right? And we have a different mentality to it, right? Like, so we want to grow up. I feel like what's been happening for the last 2 or 3 years specifically is like everybody's like commercial, 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 like personal line sucks and this and that, right? So our agency has said, you know what, like we're going to hone in on this, man. We're going to bring more people. We're going to hire 10 more people. We're going to build a 10,000 square feet state of the art building for our people to be able to go do certain things that they want to do. So basically what we have said is, you know what, like everybody else is going into commercial. We're just going to put all of our chips into personal lines because that's what we do. That's what we know really best. And we're going to be the best at it in the country. So I would say that would definitely be one of the reasons that they have picked us is because we're solely really focused on the personal line side.
So all you Rough Note listeners out there, just know that I know Cyrus. I know, like a lot of the other people, I have my finger to the pulse. But Cyrus, let loose. Tell them you left the State Farm. You've done a bunch of other stuff, but specifically with the agency, tell them how fast you went from zero to where you are and how big you are today.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jason. It's been a wild ride, man. That first year of COVID, we have no idea what we're doing. Honestly, I didn't know anybody. And I know there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast and Rough Notes magazine that maybe they've been agents for a long time, but there's some that listen to it that are newer as well. So like we left, and we're like, what the hell do I do? I didn't know Jason. I didn't know Chris. I didn't know Bradley. I didn't know all these guys that I've reached out to for the last 2 or 3 years for help, which has kind of taken me where I'm at now. So I didn't know anything about the independent channel, man. I know I had to go get direct contracts, and that was a nightmare, a whole 2 years of process, right? I know I needed to do that. So I was just basically doing that for a long time. But from then on, man, like as I started kind of getting into the industry and knowing some of these guys, I'm one of those guys that if Jason is doing it better than me, man, I'm the first one who's going to call him. Jason,
Right.
man, what are you doing? I don't even know Jason. Jason, hey, man, I heard about you. I heard your podcast. I'm a podcast geek. So I knew about everybody who I needed to know from every podcast that I listened to in our industry. And I just started reaching out, man. So we went from that first year trying to figure out during COVID, 2021, 2022, 23, 3 full years, and obviously the fourth year on the 2024, we went from 3 employees when we started to about 27 W-2 employees and another about 100 independent contractors across 35 states. And we will do about 10 million in revenue going on our 5th year now, all organically, no bought. We haven't bought one agency. And it's all just business that we have grown with our team, which has been pretty awesome.
How many million is that in premium, roughly, Cyrus?
We're just about 80 to 85 million in premium. in our
Cyrus,
whole
that is
organization.
unbeep and believable. I can't cuss on this because it's not my podcast, but I just did and beeped it myself. Cyrus, my goodness. I mean, what would you say? It sounds like contractors, you have agents everywhere just writing business for you galore.
Mhm.
How in the heck do you keep track of that many employees and producers and making sure? I mean, I imagine your team has got to be pretty electric.
Yeah, it's been a lot, man. It's been a lot. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend opening 11 different businesses in 4 or 5 years. A couple of them, couple of them that have honestly failed. But I'm not afraid of trying, man. I'm one of those guys that I would rather try and lose $10,000, $20,000 than sitting back 10 years from now and saying, "Man, I wish I would have tried that." Like I'm always ideas come to me all the time. Middle of the night, I'm laying down, I'm sleeping. This idea comes to me, and I'm like, "Whoa, okay." I can do a
Mm-hmm.
joint venture relationship with this car dealership that does 3,000 cars a month, or mortgage, or real estate, or all these ideas come to me all the time. So dude, I honestly would say I've been blessed with the right team. Like, so when I first started
Mm-hmm.
that first year, Jason, like, dude, I just worked all day, and I had 3 kids now, 7, 5, and 3. So I had young kids. But I told my wife I will never come home after 4:30. Like I've always, when I left State Farm, that was one of her, because her dad's a State Farm agent, still 35 years.
So she
So she loves
knows.
State Farm. We all love State Farm, taking her everywhere in the world. And so I told her, she's one requirement. She has to say, you can do whatever you want, no problem. But I just want to make sure that you're going to be home at 4:30, because obviously family's important. And so I took that to heart. So I would work literally from 8 to 4:30, come home, put the kids to bed 7:30 to 1 o'clock. So I grinded that first year, Jason. And then I said, okay, what's bogging me down? Like, for me to get to 100 million in premium, which was my goal at the time, I said, what do I got to do? Right? Like, I can't be writing business. That's just not, there's no way I can get there. So I said, okay, I got to find the COO, because all these questions are coming to me and somebody's got to block those questions. Found the COO. And then I said, okay, now I got 13 agents, man. I got somebody, vice president of sales, that can handle all the carrier questions. These guys have questions every day, but I want to make sure somebody's there. And then last but not least, as we ground really big, man, we got claims, we got employee issues, carrier issues, we got all of our client issues that comes in all the time. So I had to find like an operations person on the service side that can handle all that as well. So I've got both of my brothers who are my COO and vice president of sales, and then Maggie is our operations person. So basically, they literally completely blocked me from any question that could come to me, Jason. Like, I spent 2.5 months in Spain. I just got back actually 3 nights ago. I
Mm-hmm.
came for you from Spain to
Mm-hmm.
Indy Tech.
You did? Yep.
So
You came and spoke
then
at
I came,
Anytech, and then you went back?
yep. And I went back and I spent about 11 days. I came back for ITC, but I brought my family this time because my family stayed there for 2.5 months. So, like, I don't have to be involved in the day to day, even as big of an operation that we have, because I've found the right people. So if you ask me for success, man, what have I done really well? I've found the right people to basically stop bogging me down from doing things that doesn't make us money.
Cyrus, take us back. Take us back to when you were born. Tell us that story.
Yeah, man, this is a crazy, crazy story as well. But I was born in Afghanistan in the early 1990s, and they took over, and they actually bombed our house where we were inside of it. My mom, dad, and 3 of our siblings, and somehow we made it, man. But we had to find a way to get out of there because a war zone country. They didn't want you to leave. And I tell this story because it's one of my favorite stories, because I shouldn't be here. So
Right.
my mom walks for about a week to get us to this deserted place, to get in a helicopter to go over to the neighboring country, Pakistan. We go over to this deserted place. We get in a helicopter. My mom believes in prayers and like talking to God, and I'm like, she's very spiritual, and she's like, guys, we have to pray. So she prayed for like 5 minutes. The other 4 helicopters get up in the air on top of the Kabul River. All 4 of those get shot, fall in the Kabul River. Ours gets up a little bit later. We did get hit. It spun a couple of times, and we somehow made it to Pakistan. And Pakistan was its old beast with, man, like, we lived on $100 a month until I was 15 years old when we moved here to the US. And but like 7, 8 people in one room, and we had only meat once a month, and we had to go fetch our water to take a shower once a week. So we lived in refugee camps, and then coming here in 2002, right before 9/11 from Afghanistan, knowing no English whatsoever. And that was its own, a teenager in high school, with the way we dressed, the
Wow.
way I talk. So my life has been just difficult, man. From like 2 years old, maybe we all run into difficult situations. We all have stories, right? But I tell my story with pride now. I was ashamed of it at first, Jason. I wouldn't lie to you, because I'm like, man, I don't want people to judge me and all that stuff. As I've grown and I have kids now, I'm more proud of it than ever. I wrote a book about it, my whole story, and I'm proud of it, because what doesn't kill you make you stronger, man. Adversity, the things that I deal with now, I look back and I'm like, dude, like our house got bombed and you're worried over here because your kid is sick and you have to stay home, like, or certain things that are happening. And I know people deal with bigger stuff as
Right.
well, but so I look at life a lot differently because of those experiences, and I share it with my family or my people that are surrounded by me to inspire them to say, dude, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to deal with adversity, but the adversity is what makes you who you are, and you're going to be stronger from it.
Mm, mm, mm. I'm reading the book. I just finished it, called The Gap and the Gain. And it's a really great book. And it talks about how we get stressed out because we keep trying to live towards these ideals. But usually some of the most strongest and successful people don't look towards our ideals. They look back on the experiences they had and they measure themselves from then, right? Because there will always
Mm,
be a gap trying to measure to the ordeal, but there's always a gain when you start to look at where you came from.
mm,
Mine is pretty substantial. I think a lot of people's are, but yours is like overwhelming. No one's had their house bombed. No one's had
yeah.
to live off $100 a month. No one has been shot at in a helicopter, right? There's nobody, like anybody who looks like me. That's probably not happened. And for instance, if
Mhm.
you've never met me, I'm white. Okay. And I was born here in America. And I hear your story. And, one of the things that, without going on, one of the last speeches that Ronald Reagan gave when he was in as president, literally the last speech he gave, is about two minutes long, and he gave it on immigration and the fact that the greatness of America and the bell of freedom that gets rung doesn't get rung by Jason Cass's kids. It gets
Mhm.
rung by the immigrants who come here and who have experienced worse tragedies to come here and go, wow, the opportunity is overwhelming. No matter really what happens to me, nothing can be as bad as what just happened when my house got bombed, right? And
Mhm.
it's so important that when he said that, because it was really true. And I had to admit, my sons don't ring the bell of freedom. They're just used to
Mhm.
it. That just came with
Mhm.
them as they were born here. And I hear your story and I hear the story of so many other people who have come to this country and just absolutely killed it. And now here we are in 2024, and your story leads Rough Notes magazine as an example of how you can be a successful agent. There is no way when that bomb was dropped on your house that you could have ever, you were pretty young at the time, but that you could have
Mhm.
ever imagined that you would be the example for how agents will look to be successful in America. I mean, come on, man. That's absolutely gorgeous, Cyrus, and good for you on that, man. Anything to add to that?
It's the American dream, man. It really is. I feel like immigrants who come here, like they just don't take it for granted. Like my kids honestly take like our life for granted because they have no idea what dad's been like 7, 5, and 3, right? So
Mm-hmm.
our obligations as parents, man, as leaders, is to build good human beings that understand that, it's okay to be black, it's okay to be brown, it's okay to be from different people, it's okay to have different views and different all that stuff, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But it's really difficult in today's society to be able to get that to young kids and teenagers and all that stuff. As you get older, you realize that a lot more. And it's very hard, man, because like my kids have been to 7 countries and it's only been 10 months this year. So like the life that we are able to give our kids,
Oh,
right? It's really difficult for them to understand like what dad has really been through. But on a daily basis, there are certain things that I do to make them understand that, hey, go pick up after yourself, go throw your stuff in the trash, pick that up, be a good human, be nice to that person. I don't care if they're smart, I don't care if they get A's, I don't care if they're a doctor, lawyer. I just want them to be kind people, because we need kind people in this world. Because I feel like if you're a good person and kind and doing the right thing, good things happen to good people, and I truly
mm-hmm.
believe that.
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely, they do. And so we can see that also not with your family, but I guarantee you, this is how you work with your team, right? Making sure that they're saying, no matter any adversity we're going through, hey, we've been through worse, right? Let's kind of frame this up to make sure that we understand this adversity we're going through. as you were building your team, and having them, sometimes those who, now you said a lot of your people you first started with were family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yep.
really helped, right? I imagine,
Yep.
did that help because they kind of had that same mindset as, wow, this is a lot of opportunity. We've been through the worst. Is it, would I be right there?
Yeah. So Maggie, who's my operations person, so Maggie and Bobby, so there's three leadership. There's three people that are like leaders, right, that report to me, and then everybody else report to them. But those three, have been with me from the beginning. And Ahmad, my brother, who was our COO, he came from LinkedIn and Apple. He was there. We got him in 2021, right in the beginning of 2021. So a little bit late, but right when we were kind of taking off, because I knew I needed to take off, but I needed to get somebody to kind of watch stuff while we take off. So family does help, and the reason being is because you can trust them, right? So like if I can go to Spain, for example, for 2 months, knowing that like the agency is going to run the same exact way, that they have the best interest of me in mind, helps a ton. So we're like, you don't have to you don't have to think about things that could go wrong because they are there and they're going to protect it, and things are going to go well. I think that's really important. And that's what I encourage a lot of agents, man. Like whether you're 25 years in or whether you're 2 years in, if you don't find those people, there is no way for you to go to where you want to go, because you're going to just be bogged down to little things that you honestly don't want to do, man.
So to write that much premium, you said you have over 100 contractors and stuff like that. I assume, let's just put it to it, you've got a bunch of agents and producers out there. How in the world are you finding them? Are they around you? Are they in other states? How are you piecing this together? How are you attracting them?
Yeah. That's a great question, man. We honestly just focus on captive agents, right? So we just focus on captive agents. We have a lot of old State Farm guys. We have a lot of Allstate guys. We have a lot of American Family guys and Farm Bureau guys, and that's what we kind of focus on. They have to be there for 5 years. Is kind of my requirement because I don't want to babysit. I want them to come in. They know how to run a business and go take off, man. Go fly. Let's go fly together, right? Like let's build this thing together. The W-2 employees, obviously 25, 27 of those, they obviously need a lot more work. I would hire a couple of people that are maybe newer, but on the independent contractor side, there's not really a lot we do with them. We basically find the talent. Once we find the talent, we go have conversations and give them the American dream on the end. I truly believe, man, I used to brag, Jason, about how amazing I was at State Farm because I was the 30th best agent in the country. I was like, dude, I'm the best. I'm one of the best insurance agents in the world. And I had 5.5 million in premium. And I come on this channel and I talk to people, and I'm like at your event, man, there were some agents there that I'm like, what? At ITC, just like I spoke and I was like, oh, how to build 100 million in 5 years. The guy after me, how he built $1 billion premium. I'm like, what? It's wild. It's absolutely wild how many amazing. Great. But that's the thing, man. You got to find those people because that's what I did. I said, okay, so for example, I'm just making stuff up. Like Jason is at 50 million and I'm at 5. Jason, how do I get there, man? Once I get to 50, who's at 100? Hey, how do you get there, Chris? Because we've all made those mistakes. And I feel like a lot of people don't just ask questions to learn. If you don't make mistakes that put you 2 to 3 years back, it's so much easier to get to where you want to go. Now my goal is a billion in premium. Well, the only way to do that, man, is infrastructure and different things and leadership and all this stuff that you need to do and money to be able to get to $1 billion. Like you can't do that, right? So we find talent, and specifically speaking from the captive world, Jason, to grow our organization because we understand they know how to run a business. And I don't want to hire producers. I want to hire business owners inside of my organization, and they go find independent contractors or producers underneath them to be able to all grow together.
So you find them, you give them the dream, what we used to be called the American dream, the independent agent dream, and then they buy into it. And then you treat them like a regular independent contractor. They have their own stuff. You do a little commission split, and then you guys grow together, right?
The majority of our book, honestly, is ourselves, because I have about 8 or 9 different agencies. We do a lot of joint ventures with mortgage companies, credit unions, real estate companies. We do a lot of those, and those are obviously newer because we're newer, 2-3 years in on those side of things, and that's been growing really fast, man. Even though there's a little bit of a down, obviously with the mortgage market and the real estate market, but it's about to pick up, and it has picked up in the last year, and that's been a lot of fun. So I would honestly say that half and half is them, half is us for sure.
So Cyrus, here's one thing I want to talk to you about: 2025 and 2026, right? I think for the last 2 years, maybe even 3 years, agents have gotten comfortable. Right. We have increases right now in premiums that are astronomical. Agents are growing by 20, 30, 40%. And it's not because they're growing because of pure business. They're growing because of rate increases, right? That has caused two things. We've got lackadaisical on our renewal processes because we know that our clients have nowhere to go. We really haven't been hiring a lot of producers because we don't really have an influx of business to actually go out there and beat the doors, or even on the referral partners. They're not selling as many houses. And I think that's getting ready to flip. I think it's almost like you see in how we had the supply chains that got jacked up, raised inflation, and then all of a sudden that got out. Now inflation, we're trying to get it to come down. I think that's where we're at here. And I'm curious to get your thoughts here. I think in 25, 26, when these markets start to open up, and they're going to, according to some people I'm already speaking with, they're making their filings with the states now saying, hey, here's what we're going after. I think when that happens and the consumer has options, you could say 75% of businesses, including my clients, are going to shop, try to look for something different. I think that this is going to be a make or break moment for our industry. I think you're going to see the rich get richer, and I'm going to see the lazy get bought out is what I think is going to happen. Because think about this, those who are sitting there with a prepared renewal process, those who are sitting there with agents that they've invested in, man, when this time comes, most agencies are going to be trying to figure out, should I try to write new business or should I try to keep it from going out the back door? And our first thought is, as humans, we would rather work harder to keep something than we would to gain something new. So that tells me that agents are going to start focusing so much on trying to keep the business. And because most of us play on price, they're not going to be able to. And they're really going to mess up because now they have their staff so dedicated there, they're not going to be on the front edge or have those agents like they need to. I think that it's going to be pretty crazy over the next 2020 and 25, 26. Have you given this any thought?
I have, man. I have. I think we're honestly in like the fourth quarter of the hard market. Obviously, with the last two hurricanes, man, that's going to put us a little bit back. I would say 3 to 6 months, unfortunately. But that's what I'm hearing from carriers as well, man. They definitely want to grow on auto, right? Like the home, everybody's kind of trying to figure out. Everybody's ready to rock and roll in Q1 for auto. And I would tell you, man, you don't get to a billion or 100 million or even 10 million, whatever your goal is. Like, you don't have to get to 100 million. Not everybody wants to. And like, that's not for me to say, but everybody should have goals that they should achieve, but you don't get there not writing new business. Like there's just no way you get to those places if you don't have a fine-tuned process in place, the right people in place to be able to get new business in, right? For us, for example, we've been so heavy on the new business side, Jason, that like, we really didn't care about. I said, you know what? Forget about it, man. We'll figure out the back door when the time comes, right? Well, the time has come. The time came actually about a year ago. I wish I would have put these processes in place that I'm talking about right now. But we're very heavy focused right now on closing the back door as we speak. I wish I did that about a year ago but also I didn't realize that Nebraska would take literally 150% increase on every policy on the home side in the last year. So that's really thrown us off as an organization. It's obviously a double-edged sword because with premiums going up, commissions going up, all is well. But I don't like losing, man. I don't like losing clients to begin with. Like, I don't want to be that guy that just says, just don't have to worry about the back. So, man, as an agency, you really got to figure out both. But at the end of the day, I'm a new business organization, right? But the bigger you get, and you're obviously large, the bigger you get, it gets really difficult if you don't figure out the back. Like you could write 10 million, 12 million in new business, but if you don't figure out the back, even if you're at 100 million, 10% leave you write 10 million, you didn't grow. So like if you don't figure out both, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So we really got to figure out both. But I'm a new business guy, man, but I'm really focusing on the back right now.
I'm in acquisition mode, man. That's where me and Travis are focusing. Yes, our new business, yes, our renewals process. But man, I'm going to sit here and start calling people and being like, because I know they're going to start stressing. I already know the people who are already on wobbly legs, and it's going to be tough. And I think that they're going to want to get out rather than having to. You're going to be forced to use technology. As I wrap up here with you, I want you to tell, not only do you have an agency, but because of all this rapid growth and being able to take on all this business, you've actually created a couple businesses, and I believe one or maybe two of them are insurtech businesses. Tell us about that, Cyrus.
Yeah, so for us, man, it was just problems that existed in our agency, like the flow of new business. Like I wanted the consumer to do business with me how they wanted to do business with me. Quick, easy, 60 seconds, dude. We wanted to build a Zebra. We wanted to build like a Jerry, for example, right? To where but our own. I didn't want to depend on them because I truly believe, man, 3 years from now, think about this, Jason. Do you really think consumers going to call agencies and say, "Hey, I would love a quote," right? Like maybe, but I feel like a lot of people are going to go online. A lot of people are going to go through social media. A lot of people are going to go find places, click a couple of pieces of information, and boom, they want it to be easy, quick. But here's the thing: they want an agent. They want to talk to an agent. When a claim happens, they want a trusted relationship with somebody, but they may not want to talk to you until they're ready. And that's okay. We tell people all the time, you do business however you want to do business, man. You never want to talk to us, everything through email, great. You want to come in, great. However way you want to do business with. So we built the technology to basically get a quote in 30 to 60 seconds. We spent about a year on a UI because we wanted to make sure it's the 2030 UI. It's very pretty. It's really nice. The consumer trusts it. Instead of go to an agency, you go click on get a quote, you fill a form with your information, and then somebody maybe will call you in 48 hours. That system is broken. You're going to go out of business in the next 5 to 10 years. And I can promise you, if you don't figure out how to bring business in, especially the millennials and the Gen Zs, if you don't find a way to make it easy for them, you will be the blockbuster of agencies, in my opinion. Guys like Jason, guys like me will probably acquire you because you haven't figured out the tech piece of it, right? So Quotamation is what it's called. And now it's got a little bit of a CRM portion so we can see lost, closes, all stuff, trends and stuff like that for our agents. But for me, Jason, it was pretty simple. I wanted my agents to go to one place when they come in, when a prospect comes in. Prospects should just come in anyways because of your social media and traffic that you drive. Once they come in, they need to be in one place for my agents. Agents come in, log into Quotamation. From prospect to once they close the deal, when they become client, that's their journey. That's going to be Quotamation for us. And then after that, then it's going to be our management system is where that information goes to. So I don't want to have 7 different technology places for my agents to go. I want to make it super simple for them. I know everybody's talking about AI and obviously Indie Tech, all these great companies, and I want you to use them, but please pick one and do it really well that works for your agency before you go to the next one. So we're going to do that really well, and then we'll go to the next one after that.
Cyrus, it's been fantastic, man. It's been this is the second or third podcast that we've done together, and I learned a lot of stuff from you that I didn't know before, and you really thank you very much for being in this industry. For real, we are so glad that you chose the independent world for that American dream. Sometimes the people think the American dream is buying a house. It's a lot more to the American dream. You can make it the dream that you want. That's what's pretty awesome. So thank you.
100%. Jason, I do want to tell you, man, things you're doing for the industry, man, with everything you've got going on, man, I look up to people like you. And I'm humbled that some people look up to me now that I've been in this industry for a while. So I'm one of those guys, man. I'm always chasing the better version of me 5 years from now, like Matthew McConaughey says, right? And I'm always going to be chasing. So I chase guys like you, man, and I'm sure you're chasing somebody above you, and we're all kind of chasing to become better as husbands, fathers, businessmen, and that's my encouragement to all the agents, man, is chase somebody because they have done it. Reach out to people, man, because this industry is all about giving back, and they will certainly help you.
Sure is, man. Man, it's great. Rough Note listeners, I really want you to zoom in on something here. Look at how our industry has changed. Last month, for the month of October, was Jay Mueller, who runs his agency from living in Spain, right? Now we're talking about Cyrus, who's literally living across the world. His kids have been in 7 different countries just in the last 10 months. He's been over in Spain. He flies over here to speak with Cass's event. He flies back over to his family. He flies back over here to see ITC, brings his family, and he's running an agency that is probably 100 times bigger than yours. Okay. That literally at least 10 times bigger than yours. Let's put it that way. I don't know if it's getting you, Rough Notes listeners, like it's hitting me. And first of all, we do not judge and say, I must not be doing something right because I'm not like Cyrus, right? That's that ideal world that we should never be measuring that gap to. But what are your problems? What are your issues that you're gaining every day? And think about this problem. You've probably said it to yourself a couple times, Rough Notes listeners. Wow, what would my agency do without me? Man, if I wasn't here, this agency couldn't operate the way that it would. I think sometimes that's a nice ego stroke, but like, is that the best? Are you happy doing that? And because I don't really think you need to be involved as much as you do, because one thing that you learned from Jay, one thing that you've learned from almost anybody in this series, but especially Cyrus, it's a team. It literally takes a team. And I believe that that is one of the great separators of people is yes, you may not accept technology. Yes, you don't want to play in the new processes and procedures and whatever it could be. But I think one of the most biggest factors that's going to separate agents in the future is the fact of, can you delegate? Can you give somebody else your trust to be able to do what you do? And yes, they may not be able to do everything you can do as well, but boy, there's a lot of things they can do way better than you. So keep in mind about that. Really think about the fact of the problems that you're having and the issues you're having. Because if you're a 2-man, a 4-woman, a 6-woman, a 15-woman shop and you can't figure it out, I hate to tell you, but Cass is always honest with you because I want you to be successful. It's probably you. Because we have these other examples out here of people who are running the 6-man and 15-man shop. Fantastic. We also have people like Cyrus Jaffery who are running huge shops from across the world. And don't get me wrong. Cyrus isn't just walking around on feathers. Okay. He still has a lot of stress in his life and he still has things he has to do, but the potential of what you can do, Rough Nose listeners, that's what you should be getting out of this podcast. Not measuring yourself to them, but looking internally at your own self and saying, I'm hearing these other stories. This gives me hope. Now, where do you take it from there? Look back at where you started. Because at one time it was just you in that agency. And now you may have 3 people, you may have 15, you may have 10 million. But look back, measure that gain and realize that you have so much more to do and use these stories as the guide and the blueprint for it. So Cyrus, once again, thank you very much for joining us. Once again, Dave, good. Look at you and your crew out there just finding the best as examples for independent insurance agents. Thank you very much. And to all you Rough Notes listeners, I appreciate you listening to this. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jason. And thank you, Rough Notes.